Hi, my name's Tom Berarducci. You don't know me, not a famous YouTuber, not a pro photographer, just a guy who likes to take pictures. I'm filming this on my old Sony A6000 with a lav mic. Hopefully you hear me okay. I've also got a RX100 Mark I over here for a side shot. I didn't want to do this video. I actually didn't want to be using the Sony. I wanted to be moving over to Fuji. I researched it, watched all the YouTube videos from all the influencers, and really got into all the different details about the cameras and how great they were and everything. And I bought one. I bought a Fuji XT-30. Loved it. Feels great in the hand. It's sexy. Oh my God, so small, so good. Love it. But then I started using it the way I normally use a camera. The way I thought a camera should be used. And in most cases, let me be real clear. In most cases, worked perfectly. No problem. But the fundamental tenet of a digital camera, in my opinion, is it must do a good job of taking pictures and help me to not make stupid mistakes. Now, if you're a pro, you're so good that you never make dumb mistakes, and okay, this video is not for you. But for the average person, you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on a piece of electronic equipment to take pictures. It should help you take good pictures, as much as possible in a practical way. And the Fuji does that most of the time, but not all the time. And this video, I'm going to do a video in 3 parts. First part is this preamble, me talking about kind of the issue. And the second video will be the actual video evidence, side-by-side compare between an XT-30 and a Sony A6000. And the third video will be a wrap of my conclusions, given my experience, and happy to hear other people's opinions. Okay, because we all are entitled to our opinions. But we're not, as Jimmy Carter famously said, we're not entitled to our own facts. And so I just like to get the facts out there. If I'm wrong, happy to be corrected. But this is not about an opinion, about whether I think one camera is better than the other. Or, this feels good in the hand, which is completely subjective. Because I personally think that the Fuji cameras are awesome. I love the build quality, the feel in the hand. I think the lenses are so great. And, compared to, from APS-C standpoint, from crop sensor standpoint, they kick the crap out of Sony's offerings, for the most part, for APS-C. But a camera fundamentally has to act a certain way in order for it to be a useful tool. And in this particular way, Fuji doesn't cut it. So here it is. Shutter priority mode. Okay? If I'm in shutter priority mode, the exposure, the auto exposure preview does not always show me what the camera's about to give me. And in the next video, I will show an indoor scene, relatively dimly lit, somewhere between 1,000 and 4,000 of a second, base ISO for each camera. And it's not a setting thing. If you think it is, you're wrong. Feel free to comment, but I've read the manuals, I've looked at all the settings. It's not a setting thing. The Fuji camera, and other cameras by the way too, I believe Olympus does the same thing. I don't understand, but it's not me. It's the camera designers for Olympus and for Fuji are over on one side, and then for Sony, for some reason, and maybe others are over on the other side. I haven't tested all these cameras, but I have tested, OMDs. I have tested Fuji XT3, Fuji XT30, and Sony A6000. I'm assuming the other alpha cameras work the same for Sony. I'm pretty sure they do, but I don't know. But when you're in shutter priority mode, and your exposure is incorrect, the Fuji camera just shows you a wonderful preview of a correctly exposed scene, implying, in my opinion, that it's going to take a nice picture, when in reality it's not. Okay? Now, yes, there is an exposure meter on each camera, and if you're smart enough to look and see that the little aperture indicator on the Fuji display changes from white to orange, okay, indicating it doesn't like the scene. If you're smart enough to look and see that, then you can, okay, oh, this is not correct. I should probably do something about it. But shutter priority is a semi-automatic exposure mode. I'm setting the shutter and you're supposed to do the rest. And if you can't do the rest, you should at least tell me. And a little bit better than a little itsy bitsy thing that I need to notice in the viewfinder. And my evidence to the contrary is the side-by-side comparison between the Fuji XT-30 and the Sony A6000, which I'm filming on right now. Because the Fuji, while the Fuji shows you this wonderfully lit scene, the Sony does not. It shows you an accurate as possible, representation of the scene it's about to expose. Dimly lit, 4,000ths of a second indoor scene at base ISO with no exposure compensation is going to be almost dark, black maybe. And as you crank the shutter speed down, it'll slowly get brighter, which is what an auto exposure algorithm should do. So I'm just saying, I wanted to buy a Fuji. I wanted to buy an XT3 or an XT30. I really, really wanted to because I love those lenses. But I can't buy a camera that doesn't, as accurately as possible, within reason, approximate for me the scene that's about to expose. Unless I disable it, right? I mean, there are options in some cases to turn off the exposure preview, in the cases where you are manipulating the light by adding strobes or speed lights or what have you. That's not the case here. That is not the case here because that's for a manual mode and this is shutter priority. And if you don't believe me, just go ahead and do it yourself. And if you do yourself come up with some other results, I'd be happy to listen to your opinion. But my opinion is that in this particular case, if you shoot aperture priority all the time, this video is not for you. If you shoot manual all the time, it's not for you. But there are cases when you're shooting shutter priority. I have been filming, taking pictures of my kids running around outside, brightly lit sunny day, shutter priority because they're moving fast, that's great. Then you walk inside, and you're not thinking, because anybody that's got kids, you know what I'm talking about. You're not thinking, a bunch of stuff's happened, and you see an event, you pick up the camera, you put it to your eye, it looks great through the viewfinder. Take a picture, take another one. Then, hours later, because you're not supposed to be chimping, right? That's the whole point of digital cameras, especially mirrorless, no chimping. So then you go back later, and all your exposures are crap. They're all black. Because the camera lied to you. It didn't tell you what it was going to do. It told you what it would like to do. And you need to notice that itsy bitsy little indicator in the viewfinder and pick up on that in the middle of the chaos of your family event or what have you. Some people don't have a problem with it. I do. I think, this is not, in my opinion, a bug or a design, or a problem. This is a design choice. Some camera designer at Fuji said, no, this is the way shutter exposure should work. Shutter priority should work. And apparently also at Olympus. I don't know about Canon and Nikon. But I know somebody at Sony made a different decision. What I don't know is why. But for this reason, primarily, there are others, but for this reason primarily, it looks like I'm staying with Sony for the time being. So Sony, get those lenses, get that A7000, and I'll be a happy camper. But Fuji, sorry, but for me, it doesn't work. Thank you, and stay tuned for the next video.